So bringing attention, whatever we bring kind attention to, changes more positively. So bringing your attention just right into your body, right? There's kind of the outer body, and you can feel the soft touch of your clothing on the outer part of your body. And then there's the inner body. And it's very much like your breath is the bridge between the outer and inner. Taking some deep breaths with awareness and noticing how you feel these breaths in your body. You might feel the movement of your ribs. In the front, in the sides, in the back. You might feel the air coming in and out of your nostrils. There's a little piece of your upper lip underneath the nostrils. You might feel the air passing. There. And as you take some deeper breaths with awareness, you might notice kind of some micro movements in unexpected parts of your body. It's like little bits of letting go of your body, relaxing a bit. Doing a sweep of how your body feels, starting with your feet on the floor, coming up through your ankles, lower legs, knees, upper legs, hips. Noticing if you take deeper breaths as you feel what's relaxing in your body. Having an invitation, every body likes to be invited. We don't like to be pushed around. So you want to invite your body to relax, to let go. Coming up through your abdomen, through your torso, your shoulders. Down your upper arms, a change of direction at the elbows, lower arms, hands. And back up through your arms, neck, head. And you can do these sorts of sweeps or scans at any speed. It's great to do them slowly. It's great to do them quickly. It's just plain great to do them. Connecting out the top of your head, kind of up into the sky, to the rain, to the luminescent night, knowing the moon's up there, stars. And then as if you were dropping a plumb line down through your feet, feeling your feet again down into the earth, like the roots of a tree. And taking slightly deeper breaths or with a more awareness into the earth and up to the sky through our whole verticalness. And then to bring in the horizontalness as we imagine the mountains and the streams and breathing in that and reaching out that far as well. We normally think we have 5 senses. We Buddhists add a 6th one, which is the mind. And there's really a 7th and an 8th. The 7th being proprioception, how we know where we are in space. The position of things. For example, as you're sitting here with eyes closed, just slightly raise one of your hands and move it around any way you want. And notice how you know exactly where that hand is, whether it's clenched, whether you're moving slowly, quickly, whether your palm is up, whether your back of your head, wherever your hand and your arm are, you know exactly where it is, even with eyes closed. And that's proprioception. We also sense it in our effort when we're putting force on something, when we're lifting something heavy. That's all external, our proprioception. And we've got across our brain, across the top, there's a strip that's called the proprioceptive strip that serves as this outer to inner connection. The last one is interoception, which is much more internal. We know when we're thirsty, we know when we're hungry, we know when we are in pain and where, the temperature. We know when we have to go to the bathroom, so simple. And then very slowly, with awareness, roll your shoulders backwards. Just seeing what that feels like, how that feels. And then rolling your shoulders forward. And if you choose, you can do this, what we're going to do sitting, but if you choose to move a little more, slowly come into standing and move so you have a little more room. And let yourself stretch any way you want. You know, we're so used to telling the body, go here, go there, quicker, faster, please. But let your body lead this time. You know, let yourself move any way that's comfortable for you. And where you feel like the stretch feels good. Your body knows what to do. Feeling your feet on the floor. Feeling still the verticalness of yourself. And tipping your right ear toward your right shoulder. And then your chin toward your chest and your left ear toward your left shoulder. And then coming back again, your chin toward your chest. Just do this at your own speed. And then moving your torso kind of in circles, one direction and the other. Just loosening up a bit. Feeling how this feels. And being grateful for our balance. And then rotating the hips in one direction and then the other. And then coming to a standstill. Bending your knees just slightly and straightening them again. Energetically, there's kind of a central channel that's in front of your spine, if you can imagine that. Rocking back and forth, forward and back on your feet. And then doing it in conjunction with your arms. So you're lifting your arms as you go forward and back. You can time it with your breath, synchronize it with your breath. Bend your knees if that's comfortable. So your palms are facing each other. It's like getting in the swing of it. And the Chinese say you do this 100 times a day, you'll live to be 100. Keep your elbows straight. And if you do this 1,000 times a day, you'll live forever. And then coming to a standstill and putting your hands one over the other over your hara, about 2 inches below your navel. Have your knees be soft. Being aware of your breath. The privilege of having a body. And then on the inhale, open your arms, and on the exhale, close them again. And as you do this, as you continue to do this, it's like opening to the horizons. Feeling the space between your hands in front of you and in back of you. And it's like you're gathering in energy. Just concentrate on that for a minute. You're bringing it into yourself. And then giving it out on the exhale. So it's this sacred reciprocity all the time. with us and everything. We take in and we give out. We inhale and we exhale. We expand and we contract. Feeling the strength of your legs, the strength of your feet, the strength of your body. And then just quietly keeping your hands on your hara again, your second chakra or furnace. Feeling the warmth of your hands. With gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanne. It's wonderful. I'm just noticing how it is in the body right now. Still a sense of movement, perhaps, of flow, pulsing. Warmth, tingling. Aware of the qualities present now, maybe some sense of gratitude for this guidance, for this body. And see how that's felt now. How it is with the breath. May our minds be clear, our hearts open. May our practice serve the well-being of ourselves, all beings. So in case you didn't check online, you just showed up here. The title of tonight's talk is Pathway Markers When Thickets Loom. And I want to start with this idea of thickets, including a story of the Buddha's teaching about thickets, their nature, and some implications. And then speak about pathway markers, tools really for seeing and for freedom when those thickets loom. So to begin, the word thickets, don't you love the sound of that word, thickets? The way it feels in the mouth even sounds like a thicket, which is how the Buddha described a thicket of views, like a tangle. So once when he was staying in Jetta's Grove in northern India, one of his followers, Wachagoda, asked him about holding particular views. And the first question he asked, he said, well, what about the nature of the cosmos? Is it eternal or is it finite? And then he asked him another question about the soul and the body. He said, are the soul and the body the same or are they separate entities? And here's how the Buddha responded. Wacha, he says, the position that the cosmos is eternal is a thicket of views, a wilderness of views, a contortion of views, a writhing of views, a fetter of views. It's accompanied by suffering, by distress, by despair, by fever. And it does not lead to dispassion, cessation, to calm, to direct knowledge, to full awakening, or unbinding. And each time Wacha asked, is it this or is it that? The Buddha repeats these same words as he was wont to do in his teaching, that a position of view is a thicket, a contortion and writhing of views, accompanied by distress, not leading to an end, or to calm, or to freedom. Well, by now, Wacha's confused. How can you not think one way or the other? Is it this? Is it that? Either the cosmos is eternal or it's finite. What else is there? And he says to the Buddha, I don't get this. And the Buddha acknowledges his confusion. Yeah, no wonder you're befuddled because this is hard to grasp. And he goes on to say to Wacha, he says, so let me ask you a question. If a fire were burning in front of you, would you know that this fire is burning in front of me? Wacha says, yeah, yes. And if someone were to ask you, this fire burning in front of you, what's it dependent on for its burning? And Wacha says, well, the fire is dependent upon grass, timber as its sustenance. And the Buddha says, if the fire burning in front of you were to go out, would you know that this fire has gone out? Yes. And if you were asked, this fire that's gone out, in which direction from here has it gone? East, west, north, south? How would you reply? And watch, it says that doesn't apply. Any fire burning that's consumed its sustenance is just out. And the Buddha responds, the fire that's deprived of sustenance, that's gone out, that's deprived of the conditions of development, that fire is not destined for future arising. It's free from classification of form. And something freed from form is boundless, deep, hard to fathom, like the sea. Freed from form, free from conditions of development. Isn't that our intention? To notice views that arise based on the way we are seeing it in the moment, based upon conditions. And our intention is to see that and notice, can we let go of the feeding of those conditions of development, of fires, that thicket of views that arises? But we're human, right? Given our human nature, it's pretty much guaranteed we're going to get tangled up sometimes in our views, opinions that we hold dear, that we hang on to, even knowing that that kind of attachment is going to cause suffering. Maybe a simple dissatisfaction that can range from a minor irritation to rage and to paralysis. And so whenever we're caught in that tangle, in that thicket of views, we're defining ourselves in particular ways. And when we're in that process of me making or my making, I'm like this, she's like that, he never. We can hear ourselves with these views at time, and we notice that the thickets balloon. They get larger and larger and create more dis-ease. So what if we paused and asked the question in that very moment, how right now am I creating a sense of self, my sense of self? In this moment, what is this act of self-definition? Is it skillful, useful, leading toward ease or happiness, mine or others? And if it's not skillful, if we see that, can we stop clinging to it and set it aside? On paper or in theory, that sounds, okay, we get that. Intellectually, it makes sense. And yet in life, the clinging, the grasping, the holding on to views and opinions is powerful. Sometimes almost feels unchangeable. The poet W.S. Merwin has a wonderful poem that he called To Myself, where he explores this idea of creating my sense of self. And you have to imagine, I didn't give the poem to Brianna, so it's not up on the screen, but there's no punctuation in this poem at all. No commas, no periods, nothing. So it's simply a series of lines. To myself. Even when I forget you, I go on looking for you. I believe I would know you. I keep remembering you, sometimes long ago, but then other times I am sure you were here a moment before, and the air is still alive around where you were. And I think then I can recognize who you are always the same, who pretend to be time, but you are not time, and who speak in the words, but you are not what they say, you who are not lost when I do not find you. To myself, even when I forget you, I go on looking for you. I believe I would know you. I keep remembering you, sometimes long ago, but then other times I am sure you were here a moment before, and the air is still alive around where you were. And I think then I can recognize you, who are always the same, who pretend to be time, but you are not time, and who speak in the words, but you are not what they say, you who are not lost when I do not find you. You know, the Buddha was interested in showing us how our sense of self can be focused on experience. The creation of self as an action, if you will. And so we ask, what's happening here now? And the adjectives that the Buddha used to describe actions were not ultimate or conventional. They're skillful and unskillful. And why does this matter that we describe them like that? Well, the benefit that comes from looking at the creation of self as an action is that we're free to create different senses of self that we can use as tools. And we can use those tools when they're needed. No, we can put them down when they're not. In a sense, we can use conditioned things to aim for the unconditioned. And the way we use conditioned phenomena is by learning how to master them as skills. And this ability to create a set of skillful selves allows us to see the process of I making and my making in action. Because anytime that we create a fixed view, I'm like this, or this is who I am, anytime we create that fixed view of who or what we are, we limit ourselves. Holding tight to that fixed view, we keep on creating more stress, more suffering. If we see that we can create many senses of self, we'll be in charge of our happiness. And again, we can do that by focusing on experience, asking ourselves, now what's happening? Now, think of this season as both a turning inward with the cold, rainy weather tonight, the cool of hibernation, the fading sunlight. And it's simultaneously, culturally, a season of turning outward with holidays that market activity and relationship connection, all of which can contribute to, guess what? A thicket of views, right? Anybody noticing that with the onset of the holidays? So we keep asking, what's happening here now? This is the creation of self as an action in this moment. To use a tool, a pathway marker, aiming toward that which is skillful, wholesome, wise. Pathway markers which serve the creation of self are found throughout the wisdom teachings of many spiritual traditions. And in Buddhism, there's a tendency to make lists, right? We know this, the Four Noble Truths, the 4 divine abodes, the Brahmaviharas, the 5 remembrances, the Eightfold Path, and we could go on, but that's a sampling. But every one of these intertwined the way they are support the creation of different senses of self, the dissolving of our tangling thickets. And so for this evening, I thought we'd look at just a handful of these. And some are based on biological and neurological understanding of these bodies, others on specific teachings, on recalling people in our lives who have served as guides with their words or their actions or simply their being, on memories that remind us of what's true, what's skillful, what leads to happiness. So I'm going to offer some pathway markers in random order. There's no hierarchy here, and this list is far from complete. But what I want to invite you to do is to just listen, and you perhaps will have a memory of or a connection to or intuit something else that's true for you as a pathway marker, something that guides your creation of a sense of self. So starting with mindfulness, the basis of many, many practices, and mindfulness of the body. And I want to just tell you about one specific memory, because I think sometimes when we can link a memory or an experience of, or something that's heard or seen to a teaching, it has so much more life and is so much more memorable. So Gil Fronsdal is a teacher on the West Coast. Many of you have know him. He tells the story of making pancakes one Sunday morning for his children. And he's in the kitchen and he's making them from scratch. So he's gathering all the ingredients and he's reaching up and opening the cupboard doors and grabbing the flour and the salt, etc. And he notices one time when he yanks open a cabinet door, how much effort he's applying to open this easy cabinet door. And he says, he talks about efforting. What about efforting? Am I applying more effort than is needed for this activity? And what is my mind? How is my mind functioning in this moment? I am not with this. And Jeanne, I love the proprioception. Like we know where our body is and what effort is required to open this door. So Gil lives in my kitchen. When I'm in there making something, I often think of him as I open the cupboard doors. What effort is actually required here? I don't need to yank this door open. Mindfulness includes the body. Remembering to smile, drop the shoulders, soften the belly. All of you have your phrases that you can probably bring to your attention. And Jeanne invited us to so many different ones tonight with that practice. Deepening the breath, lengthening the in-breath, the out-breath, always supportive, because it sends signals neurologically, biologically to this body, this physical body, for calming. And whether you add numbers to that, counting to that, how you do that, just whatever works for us with this. Another one would be just being outside in nature, just getting outside. We somehow our worldview expands, and I love this notion that when we're alone in nature, the comparing mind really quiets. We're not comparing ourselves to a tree, to the flower, to the sky. We are simply present in this vast open space, often with a an enormous degree of beauty. Breathing with the trees, forest bathing is something that's of interest to me. Touching the ground, just feeling your feet on the ground, walking barefoot. I go down to the sauna on the river and walk barefoot from the sauna down to the river, and just feeling the textures and the temperature of the earth is a delight. And then there's the support of wise words that you have heard from others or read yourselves or even perhaps personally experienced. Body like the mountain, breath like the wind, mind vast as the sky. Or it's like this too. Just those simple phrases to ground us, to remind us, so that the experience in that moment, in that action, creates a different sense of self. Your home, wherever you are, it's okay, sweetheart. Everything is workable. The day after my father died, almost 20 years ago, I was driving on the interstate behind a tractor trailer right in front of me, and looking up at the back end of this tractor trailer, at the very top, in enormous capital letters, were two words: be kind, on the back end of a tractor trailer. So incongruous to be flying down the highway, and in that moment, I was in a lot of grief, and look up and see these two words. Yeah. A memory not easily forgotten. I've been playing lately with this idea of reciprocity, of receiving and releasing. And this phrase came to me: not only are there 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the earth, there are 1,000 ways that the earth is kissing you and me. Then there's this category of inspirational input, I think in the realms of words, yes. Music, powerful, powerful support often for our practice. Film can be that way as well. I won't forget the murmuration film, I think, that Sharon showed years ago with the starlings. If you've never seen that set to music, I wanted to look it up and get it broadcast tonight, but we didn't have time to fit it in tonight. But it is beautiful and not easily forgotten. Then there are the spiritual guides, the people you've listened to, sat with, read, who have spoken, said, or done something that just inspire you. Some of you have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell it again real quickly. Susan Stone was moving one summer. Hot outside. We are lugging furniture into her apartment. She stops suddenly and walks over to the wall, pulls out a tissue, and goes up and very gently traps a fly sitting on her wall, holds it in both hands, carries it out of doors, releases it. An act of awareness and compassion, unforgettable. Poetry, language, immersion in any creative activity, art making of all forms. Gratitude, this immersion in gratitude. And I love this definition of gratitude: an expression of mutuality, care, and kindness in relationship, receptive and open, grateful for what's here. As we enter this week of Thanksgiving, Then there's equanimity. If you were here for Anna's talk last week, talking about this notion that I may care for you deeply, I cannot control how life unfolds for you. So this ability to be with ourselves and others in relationship with a degree of equanimity. Self-compassion. I'm looking to Laura, who's taught us a lot about self-compassion, which is, I like thinking about it in terms of these 4 components: mindfulness, kindness, shared humanity. We're all in this. We're all suffering. We're all, the freedom is possible for all of us. And the recognition of our inner goodness. So essential, the recognition of our own inner goodness. Yeah. Which brings me to Thich Nhat Hanh, who says, touch the seeds of joy, peace, and love within yourself for greater freedom. So that was just a brief overview of possibilities, the creation of a different sense of self as an action when we ask, what's happening here now? And we remember. And isn't that the challenge, to remember when you're caught in the thicket of views? That thicket can be so entangling. We forget for a moment that that's possible. So I hope that maybe some of these triggered some of your own ideas about how you work with thickets when they loom. What I'd like for you to do is to turn to one other person, maybe 2, and just share with that person, if you would, one thing that occurred to you that you remembered or that has served you well in this practice. And this is going to be brief. We're just going to take 5 minutes. So each of you speak for a minute or so, and then we'll come back together. Oh, and if you're online, Brianna, is it possible for people to talk to each other? Yay, thank you. But I am going to close with this one, which I think is supportive for all of us. This is by Atisha. Consider all phenomena to be dreams. That's a bit of a stretch for some of us some of the time. Be grateful to everyone. Don't be swayed by outer circumstances. Don't brood over the thoughts of others. Explore the nature of unborn awareness. At all times, simply rely on a joyful mind and don't expect a standing ovation. So, thank you all for being here tonight, for your practice and your presence.